Welcome to the story of women breaking barriers in sports. Today we'll explore how women have overcome societal limitations to excel in various sports. For much of history, women were kept out of organized sports, with society believing athletics were unsuitable for them. But determined women around the world challenged those barriers, proving that strength, skill, and passion belong to everyone. Here's the true story of when different sports first opened to women and which countries led the way in breaking the mold. Athletics, also known as track and field, saw its first women's participation in the early 20th century in Europe. France played a key role in 1921. The first Women's World Games were held in Paris, organized by Frenchwoman Alice Milliat after women were barred from many Olympic events. Women first competed in track and field at the 1928 Amsterdam Olympics. Fun fact, the 800 meters race in 1928 caused controversy because some women collapsed from exhaustion, leading to the event being banned for women until 1960. Remember to like and subscribe for more inspiring stories about women in sports. Football or soccer had its first women's matches in England during World War I, when many men were at war. The Dick Kerr Ladies FC became famous, playing matches that drew crowds of over 50,000. In 1921, the English Football Association banned women's football from official fields, calling it unsuitable for females. The ban lasted 50 years. The first official Women's World Cup was organized by FIFA in 1991 in China. Fun fact, despite early bans, women kept playing, often organizing secret matches and unofficial tournaments. Tennis, first women's participation. England again led the way. Women played at Wimbledon starting in 1884, only 7 years after the first men's tournament. The first Wimbledon women's singles champion was Maud Watson. Tennis became one of the first sports where women could compete nearly equally, and it has remained one of the most high-profile sports for female athletes. Fun fact, Billie Jean King's famous Battle of the Sexes match in 1973 helped drive respect for women's tennis worldwide. Swimming, first women's participation. Women competed for the first time in international swimming competitions in Great Britain in the late 1800s. At the 1912 Stockholm Olympics, women were allowed to compete in swimming for the first time, representing countries like Sweden, Great Britain and Australasia, which combined Australia and New Zealand. Fun fact, Australian swimmer Fanny Durack won the first ever Olympic gold medal for women in swimming. Ice hockey. First women's games. Canada was first women's hockey teams were playing by the 1890s. The first recorded women's hockey game was played in 1892 in Barrie, Ontario. Major milestone women's ice hockey was added to the Winter Olympics in 1998 at the Nagano Games, with Canada and the USA leading the charge. Fun fact, the first Olympic gold in women's hockey was won by the United States. Basketball, first women's games. Just a year after the invention of basketball in 1891, women began playing. The first women's basketball game was played in 1892 at Smith College in Massachusetts, USA, organized by Senda Berenson, who adapted the rules for women. Major breakthrough, women's basketball became an official Olympic sport in 1976 at the Montreal Games. Fun fact, Senda Berenson is often called the mother of women's basketball. Skiing, alpine and cross-country. First women's competitions. In Scandinavia, especially Norway and Sweden, women competed in skiing events as early as the 19th century. Women's alpine skiing debuted at the 1936 Winter Olympics in Garmisch-Partenkirchen, Germany. Fun fact, in Norway, women were encouraged to ski for health and mobility long before it was accepted as a sport. Summary, which countries led the way? Sport first, major country allowing women. Key year, as athletics, France 1921, Women's World Games, football, soccer. England 1917 to 1918, early matches, tennis, England 1884, Wimbledon, swimming, Great Britain and Sweden, late 1800s, 1912 Olympics, ice hockey, Canada 1892, first game, basketball, USA 1892, first women's game, skiing, Norway and Sweden 1800s to early 1900s. The road to equality in sports was not easy for women. They faced bans, mockery and countless obstacles, but they fought back with determination and talent. Today, female athletes are breaking records, inspiring millions and proving that sport truly belongs to everyone, everywhere. From the tennis courts of 19th century England to the Olympic arenas of today, women's sports have become a global celebration of courage, skill, and perseverance.